power, black spending power. Hey, come on in, come on in, come on in. Hey guys, I hope you're having a fabulous and fantastic day today. Hope you had a productive day today. I did. I hope you did as well. Hope you are out there reaching your goal, accomplishing your dream, doing all the things that you want to do and love to do. I'm out spreading the message. And today, guys, I'm going to be talking about black spending power. Black spending power. So, hey, taking a look at CNBC, they had a recent report that shows that black spending power has reached an all-time high. Has reached an all-time high for African Americans. Black spending power is now $1.6 trillion with a T. $1.6 trillion. So hey guys, that's something I think to I guess to get excited about, to celebrate. And so I want to be able to dig into these numbers a little bit and share just a little bit more insight with you. Since 2000, the number has grown, spending power has almost doubled for African Americans. Is almost doubled. It's increased by 171%. Okay, almost double. But check it. The Latino community spending power grew by 288%. 288%. And the Asian community's spending power, purchasing power, grew 383%. What's the deal? What's the deal, guys? While we have something to look forward to, while we're excited, we have something to be excited about. It has grown to a record $1.6 trillion. Guess what? We are still lagging behind. And if we take a look at net worth, it's the amount of assets that we have accumulated. It's the value of the assets that we have accumulated over time. That fell 14%. It fell. It actually went down by 14%. And that tells us something, guys. It tells us that something. I heard a song that's something just ain't right. Hey, what's that? Keith Sweat? Keith Sweat told us something just ain't right. Something just ain't right. How can your purchasing power, how can your spending power go up, and yet the value of the assets that you have, that you've accumulated over time, actually goes down? How is that possible? It went down by 14%. And let me just also share with you, another report says that by 2053, 30 years from now, the average net worth of African American household will be zero. Meaning the average household, if you take all the African American households, put them all together, divide it up, the average would be zero by 2053. There's a problem, guys. There's a problem. And we need to take a look at it. Hey, if you're joining me on this live stream, put your name in the comment box. Shout me out. Let me know that you hear me. Let me know that you're seeing me. So spending power has gone up, purchasing power has gone up, but yet net worth has gone down. So let's dig into a little bit why this is happening. Let's dig into why this is happening. Number one, we know, first of all, that probably for most people, their biggest asset is a house, a personal home. That's usually the where most of your money and most of your assets accumulate is in your personal home. And we know that the housing market and home prices and home values have been increasing at a dramatic rate. So, so the challenge is whether or not you're able to actually own a home. So we know that we have some lending, some predatory lending, and some redlining issues. And what redlining means is there's been this imaginary line that only certain people can see, and they beyond this line they try to keep out African Americans from living in certain areas, living in certain neighborhoods. Some people believe that is going to bring down their home values. So they try to steer certain groups away from certain neighborhoods, redlining. And we also know that when it comes to qualifying for loans, for mortgages, that many times similarly qualified people, right, don't always get the same rates. Some people get favorable rates while other people get higher rates, which then means they have to pay more money per month in interest for similar homes, similar priced homes. And because your home is not situated in the most desirable areas, it also means that your home value doesn't go up quite as quickly or as much. So we know there's some redlining and some predatory lending things that go on that keep us from being able to build as much wealth. So that's number one. And number two. Number three, job opportunities. Job opportunities. We know that oftentimes, if you look in certain industries, certain places, job opportunities aren't as plentiful in certain areas or in certain sectors for certain people. I mean, it's been said. You look at Silicon Valley, it's 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 about as lily white as it can be, right? And so we know it's the same thing in other areas, whether it be aerospace technology, many of the technology areas, many of the sciences areas, um, many of the areas that we're going to have limited opportunities when it comes to job opportunities. Which now means what? If you can't generate income in by getting some of the same job opportunities, that means, guys, we're going to have to be responsible for creating our own opportunities, opportunities. And I think what many of us miss a lot of times is we don't look to figure out how we can sell better to our own communities when everybody else is targeting our spending power. See, everybody else is eating off us. Everyone else is eating off of us. Every other industry, every other organization knows that, hey, these people have $1.6 trillion sitting here, and we're trying to get all that money. And yet we're not doing as good of a job trying to figure out how we can exchange, sell, and create value within our own community. So we have an opportunity there. So we got to be looking for, how can I, number one, create more job opportunities? We know that it's not always about skill, because we know some of the most highly educated people in all of the workforces are Black women. Black women have done an excellent job of going to school to get degrees and advanced degrees. And yet, Black women are still among the lowest paid of any racial or ethnic group. I think Black women, on average, earn roughly about 63% of what their white male counterparts generate and earn. So we have some issues there. That's number four. But I'm not going to put it all there because that's not just the problem. The problem becomes part of the problem becomes, and this is what we have more control over. The problem becomes number one, what are we doing once we generate the 1.6 trillion? How are we spending it? What are we doing with it? How do we begin to use it in a way that helps us to build wealth? That's where the challenge becomes, guys. See, some of these other things are systemic and they're going to take time. It's going to take us time to try to, make sure that equity and inclusion and all of those things are happening and taking place in education and in the job market, and the like. But the money that we have, the money that we do generate, the money that we do earn, we have to do a better job of spending it, of putting it in places where it can begin to generate and build wealth for us, for ourselves. So let me ask you, do you have a budget? Do you have a budget? Do you know where, when you get your next check, when you earn your next dollar, do you already know where that dollar is going? Do you know where each and every one of those dollars is going? Where is allocated? How much is allocated to each and every category? So you can't possibly change if you can't change what you don't track. You don't track it, you can't change it. You don't measure it, you can't change it. And so if you're unaware of what you're spending your money on and how much, then you don't know exactly what's going on with your cash flow. So we need to do a better job of our spending because, like I said, it shows here clearly if our spending power is rising, but our net worth is falling, that means that the money is not being spent and put in areas where we can build wealth. And part of that is our fault. So, I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be sharing with you, ideas. I believe the more and more you learn about money and money principles, the more of a financial plan you put together, a financial freedom plan is what I call it. The more, if you have one of those plans, if you have a financial plan, everything else about your financial life is going to change. Is inevitable. If you have a plan and if you implement your plan and stick with the plan, your life will change, your financial situation will change. The dream home that you're looking for it'll change. It'll be there. Having the financial resources you want and need for you to be able to have the impact and for you to be able to accomplish in the purpose you want to accomplish in your life, you will have it. But you can't have it if you don't have a financial plan. If you don't know how much money is coming in, if you don't have multiple sources of income coming in. Hey guys, is this making sense? Let me know this is making sense. Because a plan, building wealth isn't just about tips and tricks. What are some tips? What are some tricks to helping me make some more money? How can I save some more money? How can I flip and make my money grow? Guys, we must understand that this is not a tips and tricks kind of a thing. There are principles behind these things. There are fundamental principles behind attracting, saving and managing, and growing your money. And the great thing about it is when you understand the principles and when you implement and apply the principles, they work. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But you have to have the plan. You have to have a plan. So I always ask when I'm talking with people and I'm coaching with people, The first thing I ask, I always want to know, okay, where are you right now? What's your net worth? Let me see your plan. What's your plan? And 9 times out of 10, most people don't have a plan, which is cool, because if you don't have a plan, I am so glad now that they realize that they're reaching out. I get so excited when it happens because they've acknowledged that there's some things that they're not happy with in their financial life, and they want to do something about it, and they want to make it better. And I am so happy when I see that. And so now, once we start identifying some things, understanding where they are currently, and start finding out what's important to them, how do they want to see their life? What do they want to be, do, and have? And once we have some understanding about that, then we can start developing a strategy, putting together a plan. And you know what? They realized it's not as difficult as they thought. Whatever fears or concerns or feelings of embarrassment that some people might feel, or pride, it goes away, and they're so glad that they finally reached out, and they finally are taking the bull by the horns. They have more clarity, they have more confidence, they sleep better at night, they're not having arguments with their spouse, they're not feeling anxiety and stress at night, not being able to get a good night's rest. Wear and tear and worry on their mind and their body begins to go away. Because I know exactly how it feels. I've been there. I'm not perfect. I haven't always made the absolute best choices when it comes to money, but I'm so glad that I took time to start learning. Because what I did know and I realized, and I'm somebody who studied economics and finance in college, and never once did I take one class that taught you how to build wealth. Not one. This is not something that they teach. And they don't teach it because they don't want you to know it. When you ask most people are going to tell you, do you think it's a good idea that money, personal finance, and financial literacy, do you think it's a good idea that those things are taught in high school? The majority of people, the vast majority of people, talking about 80-90% of people, are going to say, absolutely. I think it's something that definitely should be taught. But yet, as adults, too few of us don't take time to learn it. You weren't taught it in school or college, so now you're an adult. Why not learn now? Why not learn now? Because the truth of the matter is, there's also another study that said 81% of people felt that their level of financial literacy and financial knowledge, they were confident in their financial skills, their financial knowledge and literacy. But also, there's a study that happens every single year that shows only 34% of adults are able to pass a very basic financial literacy quiz. 34%. 81% think they know it. They got it under control. But only 34% are able to pass a basic financial literacy exam. So let me go on. So we know that spending power again has gone up. We know spending power. Hey, Yaz, how you doing? We know spending power has gone up $1.6 trillion for African Americans, and it's gone up for everybody. Latino, Asian, Caucasian, everyone has generated or have more spending power. Everyone. And yet our net worth is falling. So we need to address those things. So I just talked about spending being a major issue. If you have more purchasing power and fewer assets and less net worth, then that means there's a problem here, and it's usually around spending. We have more, we're earning more, but yet we spend less. I mean, we're earning more and yet we have less because we're not using our money well. And I'm talking about spending. So my first question is, you earned it. You work every week, every day, every week, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, 50 hours, however many weeks, how many ever hours you work, do you pay yourself? Are we really paying ourselves? See, on our budget, the top line on your budget should be you. Should be you. You worked for it. You earned it. You went in, you did the work, you traded the hours, you did the hard work, you earned the check, and yet are you on in the budget? Are you the top line on the budget? See, what we have to do is we have to realize that you can't pay everyone else and then pay yourself what's left over. That's where many times we get in trouble. It's the responsible thing to do. But then that also means that we probably need to take a look at the obligations, the financial obligations that we create for ourselves. Because if we are spending money and putting money and money is coming in, but as soon as it comes in, it's going right back out, then that means we got a spending issue. And so we have to get to a place where we are putting ourselves first and we're saving money. Let me share with you a story. I can remember when I had my first business that I was operating, and the business was doing very well. I was making, mid six figures, doing very well. And I during that time, even before I opened the business, I bought a house, right? And I felt like, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm making some good money. And I bought a pretty nice car as well, right? So I'm operating the business, I'm generating the income, right? But pretty soon, I had expenses at the business that had to be paid, right? Then the money that's left over from that, the monies that's left over after all the business expenses are paid, I bring that home, and now I have this house that I have to pay for, which, by the way, when I bought it, I was only working 4 days a week. But now I'm working 5 and 6 days a week to pay for stuff, right? But I don't even get a chance now to enjoy it, right? So at some point I got I got smart, or at some point things start to get tight enough that I realized that things have to change. I have to be working a little bit smarter, a little bit different. And that's when I got rid of all that stuff. I got rid of all that stuff. And by getting rid of all that stuff, part of me was thinking, what are people gonna say? What are people gonna think? They gonna think I'm broke, or you know what? I was I was broke. I was making a lot of money, but as soon as I was making it, it was going right back out. And so the first thing I had to learn is you can't be worried about what other people are thinking about you, because what other people are thinking about you is not paying your bills. Not one of those people that I was concerned about, not one of those persons was saying, "Hey, Alex, give me one of those bills. I'll help you out. I'll pay for that." Wasn't nobody saying that. So I'm like, why am I worried about what they're thinking? I got to do what's right for me. And once I began to understand none of this stuff makes me who I am, that's something that we have to do. We have to step away from, we have to not be tied to our home, to our car, our clothes, what we drive, the job that we have. And once you start doing that, there's a certain level of freedom that comes with that. And then what happens is once you begin to cut your attachment to these things and stuff, then you can begin to see clearly what has to be a priority. And that's when things begin to change for me. That's when things begin to change. I got rid of the obligations that freed up spending, that freed up cash flow. And now it gave me the ability to start directing where my money should be going. I was able to put myself first as opposed to getting what was left over. I started having more mental clarity. I started having more energy. I started realizing that all of that stuff, yeah, it actually didn't, it meant nothing. It meant nothing. What was more enjoyable is knowing that I was able to reward myself, not with buying stuff, but putting me first and making sure that I can put my money in a place where it can start working for me instead of me working for it. You know, money is a great slave, but it's a terrible master. You don't want to be a master. You don't want to be a slave to your money. You want it to be the other way around. So I'll end with this, that when it comes to investing, particularly African American people of color, only 33% of African Americans, people of color, are actually investing in stocks. 33%. And so I'm not even going to make it about a ethnic, race, or color thing. It's a personal thing. So we have to ask ourselves, you know, regardless of what color you are, race or creed, doesn't matter. Are you using your money in a way that builds wealth for you and your family? I don't care what color you are. But I want the information to get out there and to be made available to all people. All people. So guys, again, let me just retrace. I just want to say I think we're doing a fantastic job. We're earning more than ever. I think there's still some opportunities out there that we are missing out on, that we're not looking for ways to generate additional income for ourselves, because you can't be dependent on your job. Okay? Because if you only have one source of income and that's your job, if you have an employer, if something happens to that company, that means your income goes away. You need to have multiple streams of income, because you want to make sure that if one goes down, I call it your three-legged stool. If one goes down, you know what? You still got at least two other ones. Okay? You still got money coming in. All right? The other thing is, the reason why I want you to start looking for other opportunities to supplement your income is because I want you to build something that you have control over, something that you can control, scale, and that you can build value with and possibly even leave a legacy with. You can't take your job and give it to your children. You can't take your job and pass it on as a legacy asset. You don't own it. So you want to make sure that you are building something, you're starting something, and you are building something that allows you to generate an additional stream of income, one that allows you to reduce your taxes. We got Uncle Sam is hitting us upside the head, and it's going to get even worse, because we know right now already, we know PayPal and Cash App and Venmo and all of those guys are now required to send a report about how much money we've earned if we are earning over $600. We know it's coming. We see right now inflation is at the highest level it's been in the last 30 or 40 years. right? So that means the value of our dollar is going down, which now means your money needs to be working even harder. You need to be generating at least 5 or 6% from every dollar that you invest. And if you're not investing, so hey guys, good news. I don't want you to be dismayed by this information. I want you to realize that wherever you are with your finances right now, I want you to know that things can be dramatically different for you in a good way in a relatively short period of time when you start learning and putting the principles in place. When you develop a financial plan that takes care of the four major areas. Number one, do you have an income plan? Number two, do you have a savings and management plan, money management plan? Number three, do you have an investment plan? And number four, do you have a protection plan? You need to protect your money from inflation. You need to protect your money from interest. You need to protect it from lawsuits. You need to protect it from taxes, right? All of these things are important, and you need to have a plan in place to protect your assets. So I'm going to be sharing more information with you over the next coming days and weeks. So please tune in, send questions if you have questions. If there are things that you want to know, please share. We need more transparency around this. We need to start having more wealth conversations. Because if we're not talking about these things, then the information is not being shared, it's not being disseminated, it's not benefiting us. So just know here is a safe place. I'm always here. I'm excited for you. I want to see you grow. I want to see you have all the financial resources you could possibly need or want. And guess what? You can have it. You can have it. But it's only if you're using it well and you're using it right and you have a plan for it. Okay. And so I'm going to be sharing those things with you. So, hey, man, God bless each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you. Let me know if you have any questions or reach out to me anytime. All right. So take care. God bless. Share this with somebody that you love and care about. Okay. Take care. God bless. See you next time.